What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, I hope you stick around. Hope you like what you see. And for all you guys that keep coming back, thank you for your continued support. And as always, we're going to get right into it. And if you can put two and two together, you've probably figured out by now that this is going to be another suppressor video. This one's going to be over the Wolfpack Armory Romulus 556. So this guy is printed out of 718 Inconel. It is full auto rated, no barrel restrictions. So it's basically whatever you want to do, have at it. And naturally, being 718 Inconel, it's not super light. It's going to be, I think the website says a little bit over 14 ounces without a mount. This one did come with the Wolfpack Armory flush fitting Plan B, as well as a muzzle device. Unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I already got Plan B devices on everything, so that's just going to be an extra for now. But it's a nice little touch that these guys, not only do they make suppressors, but they make muzzle devices and hubs, so they send that with the can. Nice little touch on the Romulus. We've touched on it in the past, how I prefer wrench flats on the back of the suppressors versus spanner wrench slots. This one actually has both, because as you guys know, I kind of prefer it to be really quiet. I can stand to have a little bit of back pressure as long as it's really quiet, because first and foremost, what I want a suppressor to do is suppress that sound. And without further ado, we're going to just jump right into this, start doing some shooting. Hopefully I can film a majority of this outside and not in the barn, but it is going to be a brutally hot day once again. We do have a slight breeze, but we're going to have to do what we're going to have to do. All right, backstop, Spyro. All right, so quiet as usual, back pressure still very low, ejection at about 4 o'clock. So let's get the Romulus on here and keep going. All right, Wolfpack Armory Romulus. So back pressure, change ejection, maybe up to 330, but still pretty low. So I'm gonna get another round without my ear pro over here. So I would say, honestly, sound signature is pretty close. I think the Romulus has got a little bit higher pitch tone to it, so it makes the Thunder Beast seem a little bit quieter, but I don't know that it actually is. Like we've talked about before, that tone can play a huge difference in how you perceive that sound. So let's get the directional mic and do some distance. So I lied. We're gonna do right up here at the berm, off to the side and at the muzzle before we do distance. Okay, so it seemed to sound really good, especially out to range. I think right up here at the backstop, it was it seemed a little bit higher pitched, but getting out further, it seemed pretty low. And I did pick up one of the rounds impacting the backstop at 100 yards. So that's already a really good sign. As we know, if you've been watching any of my YouTube videos on suppressors, if you can hear impacts at 100 yards on a Mark 18, that's already a good sign. It's gonna be a really, really good can. And there's the rounds. So as you can see, not a whole lot of carbon, if any at all, on those rounds. So still pretty low back pressure. So let's continue on and grab the 11.5. Colt 11.5 Infinity 556K from Otter Creek. Sounding really good as always. And ejection still at about 230. So same, and let's get the Romulus. Romulus 11.5. So first round went back at about 330. Next one was around 3. That's pretty good. That is definitely quieter actually than the Otter Creek Infinity with less back pressure. So let's get the directional mic on here and do our thing. Okay, so that thing sounded pretty darn good on here. Lower back pressure than the Infinity and sounded better or quieter with a deeper tone, if I might add that. Also, There's our rounds. So as you guys know, this thing has the BRT Easy Tune gas tube in it, so it doesn't get a lot of carbon on the rounds anyway, but that's still less than the Infinity. So this thing may dethrone the Infinity from the 11.5 if it doesn't prove to be better on something else. All right, this is going to be a new one for a lot of you guys here on YouTube. This is my 13-inch Rock and Lock 5.56 Galil ACE. Now we have got the Exigent Defense Fire Team on there. It sounds great, and it's such a soft recoil impulse with that adjustable gas. Romulus 5.56. No ejection. So that was pretty weak. Honestly, I would say sound signature is very similar. It's almost exactly the same as the Exigent. Obviously, huge difference in back pressure. And as usual, directional mic, we'll do to the side, muzzle, and distance. There you have it. At distance, I'll go ahead and show you guys the rounds, but this thing is long stroke piston driven. So with these vent holes in the gas tube, if there is any extra gas coming through, it's going to bleed it off for the most part until the carbon, or before that carbon gets to the rounds, unless I just had, like, if it was stock and I was running a full back pressure normal stack can, it would probably put some carbon on the rounds. Sounded freaking great. I'm pretty sure I heard some rounds hit the backstop with this thing, so let's keep it going. 16-inch dissipator. We got the Havoc 6 on here. As we know, this thing sounds pretty good on the longer barrel, so it'd be a good one to go up against with the Romulus. So ejection is about 2 o'clock, which if I recall is about normal. Still sounds pretty good. Havoc still has a little bit of a higher pitch tone compared to some of these other cans, so enough gabbing. Let's grab the Romulus and try it out. Now we've got that Romulus on there. Whoa, way further back ejection. That one went a little bit further forward. So that first one went way back, but I'd say the next 3 went about 3 o'clock. So definitely less back pressure, deeper tone than the Havoc, and I think the sound was also, sorry, my battery died there, but I think the sound signature of the Romulus is also noticeably lower than the Havoc. I'm pretty sure I could hear rounds hitting the backstop back at 100, and I'm pretty sure I could also hear the carrier clacking forward on this rifle, which I don't think I've heard since we tried the azimuth on here, which we're getting ready to bring that one out on the 20-inch. My last round was a round I sent at 100, so I can't really show you what the rounds look like as far as carbon on here, but I would imagine it's really, really low. This thing is proving to be really low back pressure so far. And of course, he returns. Long Rod Von Hugendong. We've got that azimuth on here because this thing is crazy quiet. Hopefully we can hear better suppressor sound, but this thing is so quiet on this gun, even with my mic moved over here, all we can mostly hear is that buffer spring. Sounds great as always, and let's grab the Romulus. All right, Romulus 5.56. Ooh. Yeah, we're getting about 4 o'clock ejection. that is really good. The tone is much deeper than the azimuth. This kind of came out of nowhere. I knew that back pressure was probably going to be a little bit less, but man, that sounds really, really good on this 20-inch barrel. Romulus did amazing on this 20-inch barrel. I'm pretty sure I could hear my carrier clacking forward on this guy, and I really want to point out why that is so impressive. Normally you don't hear that unless you're running like subsonics on like 300 blackout or whatever, 7.62, 9mm, something like that. So to bring full power 5.56 down to the point where you can hear your carrier, that's really, really good. And let's not forget, take a look at the rounds. So we have almost no carbon on there, and you saw my ejection went from around 230-ish all the way back to around 4 with this can. So yeah, this thing is proving to be all around an amazing suppressor. So there we have it for the Wolfpack Armory Romulus 5.56. This thing did really, really good. It did something that not a lot of the cans I've reviewed on here have been able to do, which is be low back pressure and do really well on all barrel lengths. I feel like it scaled up really well, and it kept, again, that low back pressure. So this is probably going to be in the top 5 suppressors for me already. And before we close it up, I'm going to talk about some of the specifics. Obviously, first one being price point. Price point on these guys. I'll get this thing in frame. It's kind of hard to do with a long rod von Hugendong here, but this thing is 6 inches long, and we're coming in at about 1.61 diameter, or at least that's what the website says. So pretty impressive if you compare it to the Spyro, because the length on those is about the same, and the Spyro is a lot fatter. I think the Spyro is like 1.8 or something like that. So this thing is doing really, really well, going toe to toe with that one. And price point on these guys is about 1,000 boners, which I feel is pretty respectable, pretty average for the industry right now. Now, that said, with that price point, you are getting, again, that Plan B hub and a muzzle device, which a lot of these cans that I've featured on this channel do not come with at that price point. So you're talking about 80-ish boners a piece on that. So if you take that off, this can is coming in at about 840, which is even better. Before finishing up this last portion, I went ahead and downloaded the footage to my phone, which is what I use to edit everything because I'm poor. And I saw what the camera and what the microphones were picking up, and it seems like actually the muzzle signature on this can is actually really, really good, and it seemed to maintain that deep tone. And looking back, I would say that on the Mark 18 through the camera, it sounded like this one may have beat the Spyro sound signature wise, or at least in tone. But to me personally, my ears, I still think the Spyro is just a little bit better. Sound wise, it's really, really, really close. But back pressure is slightly less on the Spyro. The Exigent Defense, also extremely close sound signature. The Exigent may also have an edge on it on that 13-inch Galil. But the Wolfpack definitely has an edge on the Exigent when it comes to back pressure. So, as always, wrapping it up, again, probably immediately going to be in my top 5. In fact, I think this can is going to dethrone the Infinity 5.56K off of the 11.5 Colt already. It seems like it's just not that long ago that I did the video on that and decided it was going to go on there, so who knows where the Infinity is going to go. As usual, if there is anything that I didn't cover in this video, there's still questions you have or comments, blah, 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 obviously we have that comment section. Drop a comment and I'll try and get a reply to you. And as always, if you guys have stuck around this long, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys will consider liking, sharing, subscribing, all the cool BS. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and remember, it doesn't matter how fast you miss.